Hello everyone and welcome. I'm your host, Johnny, and today we'll be building a scraping service. We'll be building a scraper. That's an tale as old as time. Building a thing that you can run on a backend and then get some data that you're gonna use a bit differently maybe in your own app. So what we'll be scraping today is the full emoji list from the Emojipedia here. We'll be using JavaScript to do this, TypeScript in fact, and SvelteKit in particular. Even though SvelteKit is mostly thought of as a front-end framework, it's a meta framework. It can do everything, and today we're gonna do this. We're gonna scrape some emojis. I actually built an app that was scraping the emoji list and picking a random emoji every day, every week, every month, 3 or 4 years ago, but a little while ago it stopped working. So it was happily working and tweeting out emojis for years and years. But now we're gonna replatform, which is a scary word for many people, but it's gonna be fun today. This used to be a Create React app. It used to use Heroku and have a database, Postgres database on Heroku where it would store the selections. It had a GraphQL server deployed in that Heroku environment as well. None of that now, just SvelteKit and serverless thanks to Vercel. We'll see how it goes. Should come out as free for me, while I do need to pay a little bit for the Postgres in Heroku as well. And most of all, it should be working. That's the biggest thing. If I sound a bit different, it's because I've just put on adult bracers. Half of them are on my lower teeth, and you can't see them, I can't see them either. But it's very hard to talk. And despite that, I need to learn how to talk again. So I figured let's make a stream next week, maybe even worse, because I'll have the full set. I'll have the ones at the top two. I'm excited for the results. I'm not excited for the process, but we'll get through it for sure. So let me know in the comments how you're doing this lovely Friday. Let me know if you've built scrapers in the past. I think that's one of the first jobs I've had to do in engineering, in software engineering and web development. Scrape this, and I don't even remember what exactly I was scraping. Not stocks or anything like too exciting. But I definitely needed to scrape something and then put it on a spreadsheet, which is a classic maneuver. And we're gonna do it today. 15 years or 20 years later, or however long it's been, we're still making scrapers. So I'll put in my focus noodle timer here. I will switch to the desktop view and go back to the agenda. Clarify that we've talked about scrapers. There are many services that actually make a living by building APIs that have scraped some data from somewhere. So I remember 3 or 4 years ago, I did check to see, is there an emoji API somewhere? And maybe that's the one I found. There's definitely one now, but it does say that it's under development. And it's last been updated 3 years ago. So why not make your own? And it is also scraping unicode.org, which is what we'll be scraping today, but it hasn't updated since version 13. Well, today we're at version 15. More emojis for everyone. So we'll cut out the middleman and have our own selection of emojis without using an API. But yeah, if you need some data, have a look, see if there is an API for it, see if it's any good, see if it's maintained, or maybe you have an idea to build an API of your own and use something like Rapid API or something like that, and then monetize it. Why not? That could be a thing. We won't be monetizing anything though today, but we will create a get endpoint in our SvelteKit app. So if we have a look here, I've kinda remade this React with style components site here with SvelteKit. Check out the last 2 episodes to see the most recent version of how I'm doing the styling and that sort of thing. It's not too exciting. It does have light and dark mode that does work. I think it looks quite nice. The goal is to have a huge emoji here with its accessible name and maybe other stuff. The idea of the emoji of the app came from when I was doing photography challenges and that sort of thing, where they give you one word every week and you have to make a photo that captures that word. So they give you a theme really, and it serves as your inspiration to create something cool. Limitation inspires creativity. And I was like, why isn't there a challenge that goes with here's the emoji of the week, and now you need to shoot a picture that captures that emoji, or a video, or whatever else you want to do a live stream with the theme of whatever emoji we get. That'd be fun. But that I haven't done much with this app. I haven't created any routing or anything else. And all I really want to show today in this tough day is gonna be the scraping functionality. So let's create our first and maybe our only get endpoint. And indeed, we are gonna use the convention here of /API, just to make it clear that it's gonna be not a route that our UI will directly be using. So what we need is in our source routes directory to have a subdirectory for API. So the URL is going to be /API to hit it, and then just call it scrape for now, I guess, the directory, but the endpoint needs to have that magic plus at the start, and then it's going to be a server endpoint. So there, if we export get capital letters like the verb get, I guess it may be a good idea to copy and paste this. Hey Ophinie, nice to see you again. Hello in the chat. So let's paste this in. And what do you think about this new TypeScript convention where you have the satisfies keyword and you can say that this method or variable or whatever you have is satisfying this type? I'm very used to this, just type in the get like this, but this looks more legit. Like it looks more like a real typed language. So I may experiment with using this new syntax. Let me know if you like it or not. We will not be creating a random number here with this endpoint. We will just be returning a hello world. Why not? We don't care about the URL. I don't think we'll care about any parameter here. And now if we do go to /API scrape, we do get our traditional hello world back, which is awesome. But what we actually want to do here is scrape. So we've very quickly created this get endpoint, but now we want to scrape. And for scraping today, we're going to use this library called HappyDOM. We could use JSDOM, but we couldn't use Puppeteer or Playwright or something like that. These are tools that we often use for end-to-end tests here, but you can also use them for scraping because they run a browser, they go to a link, and then you can more easily select the elements there. They will render great, but they take a lot of time to spin up and they take a lot of resources. So if you want to deploy this to serverless, that's going to be a problem. It's going to be hard to do, maybe impossible to do. So we won't be doing that today. We'll be using this HappyDOM library, which you give it some HTML and then it fakes renders on the backend the HTML, and you can use the things you can kind of do with the browser. So if you want an element, you can kind of run the console there. Tyrio is also a good one. As Ophinie says in the chat. I've used that one before. I don't remember what I used in the other projects that I have. I'll have a look later, but I think it's highly likely that I used Tyrio, which does the same thing. I would prefer to use Stereo over JSDOM for sure, but VTest has been recommending HappyDOM, so I think it's a chance to just give this one a try and see. Is it fast? Is it even good? We'll see. So Stereo, I think, also gives you like jQuery style selectors to find things. It's a great option. I think that's what I used last time, but now let's do something new. It's like we had the old stack, which was hipster stack at the time with GraphQL and everything. Now hipster stack is SvelteKit and HappyDOM. Maybe, we'll see. But I may give it a try. If HappyDOM is giving me quickliness, then we may give it a try. And we will be indeed using fetch to hit this here. So let's see what happens. Let's install this library. I think it's just HappyDOM. So we can go to our terminal. HappyDOM is in, and we will be doing a fetch request using the internal fetch, even though it's an external resource. I don't think we need to use it because we won't be passing along any credentials, but it's a good habit to get into, that this is going to be like a universal fetch that you can use. And if you're actually hitting an internal SvelteKit endpoint, then SvelteKit is going to do more magic, so just use this all the time. So what we want is to fetch this, the emoji list. I do appreciate how they don't change the version, so they have a namespace that this is v15 or something. And we'll do the fetch. This fetch will get us back some HTML if maybe we can just say the response. I'm just trying to think. Some people don't like when I mix callbacks, like promise callbacks like this. With the weight, as we'll see. So the HTML is this. We can return it in the response, I suppose, and then we should get the same site. But of course, let's await this. But in order to await it, this needs to be asynchronous. And they forget how to do asynchronous fat arrow methods. Probably not. Is it this? Interesting. Oh, so it was the satisfies that threw me off, but like I've never seen an extra parenthesis here. Of course, thanks for that, cat. Right, so it should be happy. Let's see what we get. Like, do we get the Emojipedia there? Yeah, I think that looks legit. You can see full emoji list here. So that's great. And the idea is that we're gonna feed this to HappyDOM and see what happens. I think there are docs somewhere, even though I do think it works like you'd pretty much expect. Oh, maybe not. You import the window, like slightly different. So import this thing, then I wonder, why does it const this out? Maybe for no reason. So when this API route runs, we'll create a new window, and then maybe we want to set the window document body in HTML to be whatever we got from the fetch. So let's actually do this after we have the response. But then we don't want the response to be the HTML. I guess we can query select just a single element here. So let's try to find something interesting to select. Let's see what type of classes we have here. And of course, for testing, never use classes. For scraping, maybe use classes, I don't know. But make sure to have tests to let you know when things blow up. I suspect that's why this old app has blown up today. And yes, that's the thing that threw me off. The printer would have eaten it otherwise, this parentheses. So I'm not sure I like this. I'm not sure if this new syntax is satisfying me. I do think this is just clear to read. But yeah, let's try to find the document query selector. Let's find a TD with a class of whatever it was. Tars. And maybe that's like an emoji. So if we just return this as a response, it won't be happy. But if we return the inner HTML, text content even, maybe we'll get an emoji back. Let's see. Yeah, cool. So I can make this bigger, I suppose, to see. It seems that HappyDOM does work. And is it fast? I think it's fast. I do think that this request is the one that takes a while to resolve, to load up. But then the actual HappyDOM stuff, I think, is quite fast. We feed HappyDOM the whole HTML we got from this page, and then we're getting the first element that has this chars class, which happens to be this emoji, the very first one. So it seems to work all right. So scraping achieved, I guess. Wrap up the stream, I can recuperate, all good. But no, that's where the fun begins. What we actually want is to get every emoji from this page. That's the proper scraping. And I guess, is this like a unique ID that we could be using? Maybe, maybe not. I imagine that the Unicode string here is gonna be unique. I don't think we'd ever find this one, but I think that's the point, isn't it? So maybe save this. I wouldn't, maybe not. Code, we definitely want to save it and maybe use it as the unique ID. And we do want to take this browser column because that's the one that has the actual character that we can use quickly. We don't want these things that are image representations of what you see in some various clients. And I don't even know what these clients are. But we do want the short name as well to keep it accessible, I guess. You can do cool stuff with the short name in general, like autocomplete, that sort of thing. So how do we get each row of these? Let's find a good selector. It's inside a table. My question is each table? No, it's a single table. It doesn't have a table for its section. Everything is in a T-body, and everything is a row. The ones that actually have emojis don't have anything particularly exciting. They don't seem to have anything to differentiate them other than they have different content, I guess. So we want to get this table, the only table here, and we want to get only the rows that have emojis in them. Ooh, cute. And so if I just get table tbody, I suspect if I just get every tr, table row, I should be able to do something cool. But then can have this array and then iterate through all of them. So this will start as an array, and then the row will be an element. Can I do a query selector for chars? I imagine that the random rows don't have a chars. It may be nice to have like the category of them somewhere, but that's a feature, creeping feature. It seems like we can use this as a category. Smileys and emotion and face smiling. But one step at a time. Let's say that if we select in here for what we found before, the TD that has a chars for Charizard code, I don't know which one better, tr with a class of code, why not? If this is truthy, then it's an emoji row. So if it's an emoji row, then let's return it. Let's add it to our accumulator. But I guess we need to type it as well. Not, we just return the accumulator. Cool. So how do we get all the little attributes here? I wonder if there is a cooler way to do this. Probably with regex, like you can do a lot, right? But do I want to do that? Maybe not. So I can just take it slow and say that code is gonna be this text content. And the actual emoji is gonna be this, but the class is chars. And the sort name is hidden in the name class. All right, and then I want to push all those things, and I want to say that type emoji. Let's call this character. So the emoji has a code that is a string, has a character that is a string, has a sort name that is a string, And do we want anything else? And I think we said that we don't want this. Maybe we'll add like category and that sort of thing shortly. And I'm typing all of this because I'm gonna say that this is gonna be an array of emojis. And then we have the emoji rows. And if we've done this correctly, let's say that let's get like the 10th one of these, I guess. And get the character and see if we get the 10th emoji there. I guess not. Properties of undefined, so I guess we didn't get like 10 rows in there. Did this not quite work? So nothing inside this, the table row of code. I guess not. Clearly, it's time to console log. I say clearly, but maybe not. It's not a table row, it's a cell, so it's DD. Whoops. Alright. Appropriate emoji, I guess. But it's... is it the 10th one? Yeah, like the 11th one, because we zero index, I guess. Awesome! So yeah, I do know that this is one of the newer emojis, isn't it? So the actual numbering will be different, so it may change over time. So I wouldn't want to persist this in a database, but the Unicode should be good. Cool. So we had this class in our face before. This has been like a great, quick success so far. But I was thinking that maybe unit testing would be better for this. So if I was actually feeding the HTML to a method in a test environment with vtest, then it may be faster to debug. And I did try the shortcut out, and it is handier. So Command Option C to immediately target instead of hitting this. It's a handy shortcut. Then you can escape out of it. So yeah, we managed to kinda solve this by hitting the actual endpoint. If this was much slower, it would, if the request to Unicode org was much slower, then that would have been quite a mess to do. So it would have been much nicer to have a method. We'll have a short break because 25 minutes are up, and then we'll write our test. Let's say we were prototyping, we'll delete all of this code and then we'll try again. So, happy days. HappyDOM seems to just work as well as Cheerio. I remember a principal engineer I was interviewing as well was telling me that there is a novelty budget, or there should be a novelty budget in a project. Engineers very often want to use like new tech. They're very excited, like new project, let's add this, let's add that, but you should always set a novelty budget and say, okay, like we're doing Svelte instead of React, that's enough. Like the other tools we may want to use, let's go with the established ones. Which kind of makes sense. I guess our novelty budget here would be, do you want to use like HappyDOM instead of Cheerio? Yeah, sure, like there is budgets for that. But if you start using like a million other tools, you may find that you're debugging more of the time than you wish, and the project does not get delivered. It was an interesting conversation, to be sure. Switch back to the agenda. So we will unit test Even though I do think that I know the shape of the object that we're going to persist in the database one day, I think it would be neat to do like that. And then I guess we're going to put that emoji in our main route. So if you remember, we have this page, the home page, which says emoji goes here. And instead of emoji goes here, we want to actually show a random emoji that we selected. We will probably not create the whole project today, but we've been having fun, feeling good so far. It seems like you can understand what I'm saying still, despite the bracers, so we may manage to get through it. Then we're gonna set up a cron job with Vercel, because we don't want to be doing the scraping every time. My idea is that maybe once a week or whenever we run a cron job to have our scraper run and persist all the emojis in the database, or all new emojis in the database. And for that, we're gonna use a cron job, and Vercel has just came out with a beta version of cron jobs as well. Well, maybe not just, but it's quite fresh. And I am excited to try them out. There are a few services that even they suggest as alternatives if you go into their docs. But I think they should work good enough. My only concern is, am I gonna be able to secure that route so not everyone can just hit that page and spam it and just have me run my scraper all the time? And they have a way to secure the route with a suggestion of just have this path have a password essentially, and then your endpoint text. Does it have the password, or else rejects it? But I'm not convinced I can use environment variables here. And if I cannot use environment variables, then this will not do, because I am committing this into the project. It's public, it's on the private project, because everything we do on streams, we do open source, so you can click and see the code. So if I can't get this in a secret way, secure way, I can't use this. Other cron jobs, like in App Engine or something like that, they usually have some specific header. So when they make the request to your endpoint, they say that I am Google App Engine, I'm your own Google App Engine, so you can trust that it's me and you can run this service. So I'm surprised Vercel doesn't have this. And I agree with Ofeni in the comments that that's like Chio is a bit jQuery-like, which, you know, is good, but the jQuery had its time, huge time in the sun for like a decade or so, but now like, I do think developers are a bit allergic to use it. And any API that makes you more familiar with like the real browser APIs, because we can actually go to the console here and try out all the query selectors that we've been trying out in the code. Like anything that accidentally teaches you HTML and web fundamentals, that's good. So that was another reason that I did want to try HappyDOM. But I suspect JSDOM would be similar as well. But would it have been lightweight? Probably not. Anyway, enough rambling. Let's get on with the next 25-minute chunk work. Cool, unit testing. So we're not gonna pretend that this never happened, that we didn't write all of this code without tests. It happened, but now we're gonna write a unit test. So I suppose what I really want is like a parse method, I guess. Like parse emojis, reduce emojis. Don't really know. The method that I want to write gets fed the HTML, so we'll already have the HTML. You give it the HTML, and then it gives you that list of emojis. So collect, reduce emojis? I'm not sure. Reduce emojis. The thing is that reduce is a bit unintuitive as a word. I love good reduce, but you think that you're gonna have like less? Not sure. Gonna use it for now. So this is gonna take some HTML, and then it's gonna return something. And the test, we're using vtest here, so I think we can import it and expect from vtest and say it. So what does it do? It I don't like unit tests where it's like it does the thing, it does everything. But we may come to that. That's the problem of Horizon, getting too excited and writing the code first, that it's harder to think of the edge cases, because you know you know what you ended up with. It returns with a name. Yeah, so not the best test name or test case, but we'll see. So let's say that we have some HTML here, and we can be inspired by reality and potentially even give the whole table. But we won't, because that'd be mental. Oof, too big. Shouldn't have done that. Yeah, I will get maybe the first two rows. I think that should be fine. First two sections. So let's try to get up to 29. More. Is it too much? Probably too much. $28. I think it's up to here. It's way too much HTML. So we can reduce it eventually. Alright, so what I'm trying to do here, I'm trying to say that I have a table that has a t-body and then has a few rows. So let's close that. Close the table. Say that's our HTML. It seems we're ending at the mouth face thingy, which is indeed 29. So if we keep that HTML to our reduce emojis method that we've exported from here. Autocomplete doesn't want to help me for some reason. Did I call it something different? No, that's correct. So from this, so even though this has various weird rows, I want this to be 29 emojis is what I want to get back. So let's go to our terminal, run our unit tests and see what do we do. And we return nothing in that method. Now we're gonna cheat. And so would we be including the serial logic? I guess, yeah, why not? So in here, we can get HappyDOM again. We can specify what an emoji looks like again. And then return the emoji rows. And our test is passing, great. There is also a sample test when you create a new SvelteKit project with vtest, which we can now remove. So we have the one test that is failing. So if we were DDDing this, I guess we could have just returned the emoji table rows here instead of doing all of this. And then we'd have returned some of the junk rows that don't actually have emojis in them. But now we are returning 29 up to here, which is cool. Another test would be this HTML. We should probably, could we put it in a different file? Maybe. Let's see. Sample emojis table HTML. Just wondering what would be more readable. Let me know if you have thoughts about organizing this a bit better. Prettier will definitely format it more nicely. It's gonna take me ages, so let's go the other way around so we can scroll a bit faster. Alright, so this is the HTML. I wonder, can I import it? Alright, cool. And this passes, which means, like if we were to remove like a whole row, then this should fail. Yeah. Which is great. It does mean that we can keep our huge HTML here in a separate file. A bit more readable, a bit more nice. And if you're wondering why are you bothering with a test now that you've already written the code, well, maybe that was my problem last time, that if Unicode changes how they style this or whatever classes they're using, then I can go and change and paste in whatever they're using now in 3 years from now, and see that, oh, the test is failing, so I can adapt the test and a bit more easily. Finny asks, can HappyDOM remove elements from the fetched HTML? I imagine that you can, like, you know, remove files, something like that. So I imagine yes. Oh, guess the answer is no. Whoops. It would be an interesting way to do it. In the meantime, we can do the same thing again to get all the emojis, but then have a more, like, we know that the 10th emoji, for example, the 10th is gonna be this. This one. I can do the 11th one. Can do the melted face. So we have the contract that we have the attribute there in that object. If we forgot to do this, then this wouldn't have worked. I guess the TypeScript would also stop us. But yeah, if this was like text, this would fail for some reason. Or more realistically, if they change the class of this, then this would fail. So that's a real problem we may have, that we won't be able to, if they change how they style things, they change the class of the cell that has the actual emoji character, then we can't find it. We paste in our new HTML here, and then the test will be failing. Then we'll find that we need to do this. So that looks fine and dandy. So let's say that the 22 one is actually going to be the 23rd. Oh, it's a smiling face with tear. Let's do this one. Let's do happy ones. So often it has an interesting idea of how to kind of filter the HTML. The thing is, I do want to store objects in the end. So even if we go a different way to manage to only have rows that have only the columns that we care about, I don't want them in the TD class like this stuff. I want to have the object that has them as different attributes, which I think would still need a bit of mapping in the end. So might as well do it like this. But in any case, like I do think we can write these tests first, and then we can think about refactoring further. And let's say that great, lucky number 14. It's gonna be the 13th zero index. What's its code gonna be? Its code is gonna be this, hopefully. Yeah. Forgot to resave this. Why not? Is this breaking? Because I haven't imported that type. Right, everything's passing, everything's good, everything's happy. And these are the main things I can think about that I care for now. Maybe we want the category as well. So smileys in emotion, but that would be an interesting thing to figure out. That. So let's see, what's this row called? The shortcut didn't work for me. So, it's the hrefs, I guess. Are there more hrefs? Big head. Are there more big heads? Let's check that out. It looks like there's only one per category. So if we can find this header, I got it working before, but not anymore. Green Tester says it's an emoji video, I need more zoom. Do you need more zoom on my face? Like I made it smaller because I had a comment saying that my face is too distracting, so I figured I should give that one a chance. Do look as an emoji sometimes. I can, if that is what you wish, I can make it slightly bigger here live. But in any case, what am I saying? I'm saying that maybe we want to capture this category, but maybe not. That's feature creeping, so let's forget about this and move on with our lives. So we have this reduce emojis unit tested method, which means that we can just run that method here. Bring that method in. My autocomplete just doesn't want to work today. And we don't need any of this. All we want is to feed the HTML here And then let's see, like the 21 character, see if that still works. And it does. Awesome. Cool. And now we did a bit of unit testing. Let's use this, I guess. Let's use this route to show animals in the main page. Should we get a random element from array? Would the copilot would be random emoji? Let's see if GitHub Copilot is gonna do it for us, and it seems like it does. Well, it had the suggestion here that fills me with confidence that this is correct, but I actually need to figure out what it's actually saying. All right, it does seem it does seem that TypeScript doesn't like whatever we did here. No, it doesn't. That's we want the character, right? Cool. So each time we get a random one on this one. Don't need HappyDOM here. Great. And we can also return a JSON response with the JSON Svelte helper, which if even that one is not gonna autocomplete, then I'm mostly useless, let's be honest. Where is the JSON helper? It's in SvelteKit, I guess. Cool. So let's bring that in. So now, on this endpoint, we should be getting a random one every time. Too much zoom. Cool, mechanical leg. Yes, we can just about see it here. So let's make our main route, this one, have an emoji that it gets from hitting this API before moving on. So in our page, we have this UI that we want to change. As you can see, and it also has a load method. For handling the toggle, just because it's the route page, the theme toggle here. Sometimes it does flip out. I think it flip out the most when the server needs a little cheeky restart. Yeah, so everything works. And we want to export a load method from this. So let's see, loading data from our server method. We want to export this. So export a load method. I do prefer this because of the parentheses debacle. And bring this from Svelte. TypeScript is not compliant, but we can copy from here. And we won't be using parameters. We will be using the fetch that we have, and say that random emoji. I like that the autocomplete is hitting this. What we actually want to hit is our API scrape route, and then response JSON, and then we want to return the random emoji as data. Maybe call it emoji, I guess. Why not? Selected emoji. Just emoji, not sure. Just naming stuff. And we don't need to nest this in any key if we don't wish to do it. But in our UI part, here we can do a script TypeScript tag. It's amazing how GitHub Copilot still works, but everything that everything else that VS Code does for me automatically is not working now. It's kind of funny. Right, so we will have it available from here as page data, and we can use it by saying data character. Data emoji character, sorry. So that's going to be the selected emoji. I believe. And I was thinking, is it too small? Is it too big? Who knows? I would want to specify that this should be an emoji. Console log, did we get anything? Hopefully we do when we hit the page. Yes. The answer is indeed yes. So what's with this? Is it just like an unfortunate color? Does it need to be inside a P or something? A span? Doesn't render. Interesting. Seems I don't have the glyph for this emoji. Let's put it in H2 character here, make this huge. I am bringing in this not a color emoji thing to fall back to have everyone see the same emojis. So I'm falling back to this. Not a color emoji. Am I doing it wrong? It's definitely a display problem, because we can see that it is actually rendering the purple circle. It's just that it's not quite working. So if I don't have a fallback font here, does that change anything? Yes, and if I use the not to color one, does it? Do they not have glyphs for this? So Google Fonts has this cool library called not to color emoji, and a trick I've been using is that I make it be the fallback font for everything. So when we encounter an emoji, it will actually show up like this. It's pretty cool. But it doesn't quite like it here. And I wonder, does it have anything to do with the way I'm importing it through this like font source thing? Do I need to import something else, like a specific font weight? Supposedly it only has a 400 one. So 400 CSS. And let's run everything as well, just in case. We can see it flickering. Z index? Not sure. Relative and Z index, like something. I don't know what I'm doing here. So yeah, if you go to that font, it's fine, but the moment it tries to fall back to that other font, we're importing in a weird way, it doesn't quite work. For an emoji app, that's kind of important to have the emojis look kind of good. So we're bringing in this. Is it just called differently? No, it's not a color emoji. It's this. It is saying display swap. Is that the problem? That the blocking time is like much less? So it never switches? So infinite swap period, so it should be swapping in correctly eventually. It's not a color emoji. This guy. Anyway, we shouldn't be debugging this, I guess. If I have sans serif later, does that make any difference? Probably not. Let's not use this font for now, and I'll debug this offline. So yeah, emojis, we're showing them in the page. We can style it a bit better. Different one every time. I love it when it's animals. Snowman, didn't even know that was a thing. And maybe we want this to be a flex container and scrolls. Maybe don't do this. And yeah, we have a random emoji every time we hit the space, which is cool. But in reality, we wouldn't want to be scraping every time a user gets here. We can like cast the random response for a long time, but maybe we could cast the scrape, I guess. So if we had two endpoints, the random emoji one and the scrape one as different, then maybe we could be heavily casting this request, but not the random selection one, and that would kind of work. But I think the best way to go about this would be to persist these emojis in our own database and just get them from there and have this running as a cron job. So let's see, what was my plan here. We're running this cron job. What's next, which is great, I guess. We can fake do this here. It seems all we need is to go to our Vercel JSON, if it existed, but it doesn't. Okay, so let's create a Vercel.json and copy all of this. If it had other things, all we need to do is add the crons key, and then you have an array of things that you wanted to hit. And what I wanted to hit is scrape. So once a week, I wanted to scrape for new emojis, let's say, and I don't remember by heart how you do this. One of the stars is gonna be like 1 or something, and it's gonna be like the 5th hour of the day. But I'm sure they will have a cron format explainer. Cron AI, cool. So I guess this makes it run at midnight, which may not be the best idea on Tuesday 6. Like, I want a time that other scrapers won't be scraping this side. Alright, simple enough. So for me it was a Tuesday for this, the schedule. And I guess the other question here is, can I use environment variables in Vercel JSON? Which I can only imagine the answer is yes. Is there a bigger section on my Vercel JSON? That's not it. Should I just do process.env and then something and see if that works? Why not? Cron secret. Ah, but of course, because it's JSON, you cannot actually do this. Whoops. So how do we do this? Do we need like a step? I don't want to pass then passing secrets to other things. I want to use a secret there. I guess just to make this work for now, I will make the secret be 1, 2, 3, 4. And then let's make our API route here reject if it's not using this. Anything that's not using this. So for query parameters, I guess this is just the URL object that they give us. Here we go. let's call it app key, why not? And say that it is in the URL search params. URL is provided to this method. And let's say if the app key is not this, which will also be getting as a secret variable. And we can just return an error like this. Yeah. Cheers, I like the music too. I keep adding like 1 or 2 tracks every Friday, so now we've got a good selection going on. And yeah, I guess we could programmatically create the Vercel.json with a build step or something, but I'm not sure if that's the way to go about it. So because Vercel will be building itself, it's gonna be a bit funky. But we'll get there. So what am I doing here? I'm gonna throw the error. Does it return the error? Throw the error. Yeah. And we get this from the SvelteKit helpers as well. Invalid API key. So now this crashes, which is fine. And if we go to our API scrape route, it would also fail, which is also great. But if we say API key is 1, 2, 3, 4, it will scrape, which is great. And Vercel will hit this with a cron job with this API key. But yeah, I think offline I'll see what kind of magic will do to actually make this be a secret value and not something that anyone can see. But you know, of course, I do trust everyone here with this. And in the other places, I guess, yeah, so this we should be getting from somewhere else too. This we should know how to do. So there is a secrets thing. Is it just in env private variables? Great. So we can import I thought there was like a huge section on these. I guess not. Right. I remember these docs. I used them in a video, but they keep changing. I just couldn't find this section. So we don't want the dynamic one. We want this one, which we just import like this, I guess. And we want to call it cron API key. And say if this thing doesn't match our cron API key, then don't do it. And I guess we can create like a .env file. It's not committed. That's gonna be like cron API key is 1, 2, 3, 4. And now TypeScript knows that this is defined. Great. We just need to remember to go to Vercel and GitHub and wherever else and add this environment variable. So in the committed code, we won't be seeing the 1, 2, 3, 4 bit because .env is not committed, but we still need to find a way to like create this with the API key here. I'm sure they will have like a way to do it, but I don't think it's gonna be good streaming if I just Google it how to do it. There must be a way to use dynamic environment variables, secret environment variables in your Vercel.json. There must be. There must be. Cool. So we did set up the cron job for now, like this. We weren't able to do. Bonus ones would have been actually this get method. Whenever the cron runs, instead of returning the random emoji, it would be writing in a Supabase database, in a database like Supabase or something like that, and then we'd have a different endpoint that would do those selections. So that would be a cron job that would run like once a week or something. Once a day actually, and then it would pick the emoji of the day, and if needed the emoji of the week or the emoji of the month. So we'd be adding like a second cron job there. It's gonna be like API pick with the same API key or cron job API key, and schedule it to run. I like that tool for the cron job every day. Is one. So this one would be picking a different emoji every day, and then the idea is you go to the homepage here and you would be getting in like huge nice font the emoji of the day. Next day cron job has run again, you visit the page, you get a new emoji, and then you're inspired to do like a new app that has the theme of the emoji of the day. And if we were to save all these things into a database, we can also do things like, is it like a, you know, maybe it's a hidden emoji, maybe some of them, much like bladders in Animal Crossing. I hate bugs, especially some bugs. So maybe make those unselectable if you really want to. Like if you're like, I'd rather not have this as the emoji of the day ever. Don't leave it to chance. You can have them in your database be like invisible or something like that. But I do think I will leave those bonuses for maybe offline. Let me know if that's something that's interesting for you to see, or we'll do something else that's going to be suggested for next Friday. I do think that I've done this Supabase setup quite a few times, on stream and off stream and all of that, so maybe you've seen enough. So I just think I will keep working on this little app and see if there is anything interesting that's new that's coming about, or else we'll be doing something like an infinite carousel, which has been suggested in the comments before by quite a few people, maybe more with AI generation that keeps getting suggested, and I've been thinking about for a very long time. Obviously it's so hot right now, and it has been hot for quite a while. Something that uses like chat GPT behind the scenes, or DALL-E 2 for art generation or something like that. How do you use that with SvelteKit? That'd be cool to do, but we'll see. We'll see how I feel in regards to being able to talk as well, because if it's going to be a more complicated stream, I would like to be able to speak a bit better too. But as always, let me know in the comments, what would you like to see? Like cool ideas that are topical and, you know, I may know how to kind of do, are more likely to be part of the next stream. But sometimes it's just like a moment of fancy. I saw that this app hasn't been working. I'm like, oh, that's kind of neat. Let's migrate this project. And I could use chiller, even chiller coding until this week. So went for that one for now. There has been a new video as well. I don't know if you've seen it, about HTML video backgrounds too. So that's a short form video instead of seeing me ramble on and sometimes be like in front of the screen and whatnot. You can have a very quick, concise video about how to do HTML backgrounds like we did last week for this app, video backgrounds with sunsets and all of that. Pretty cool. Last stream we did do the personalization as well, which still works amazingly, all good. But I think that's where we will leave it for the day. Thanks everyone for joining me. We are at 3 Fridays in a row, so we're building up our streak again, and I'll do my best to make it next Friday. I will make it, even if it's gonna be a short one. It depends. I am worried that I won't be able to talk at all for like a couple of days, but maybe I'll do like a Wile E. Coyote one where I hold up signs that say "uh-oh," it's like "oh, boom," and you know, "oh, I forgot the parentheses," like the common things that I say very often. Have them in little cards and I just hold them up and talk less. We'll see. Have lovely weekends, have lovely lives. I'll see you around.